Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. If you haven't been keeping up with this story, it looks like the National Hockey League is coming back to Atlanta. Now it's going to be a few years and some hurdles have to be jumped through. But the city in Forsyth County is building a entity known as the Gathering, which is going to be a lot like the Battery, except bigger. It's going to include a close to 20,000 seat arena. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to cost over $2 billion. It's going to be huge for the city of Atlanta. They've made it clear they want a hockey team. They made it very, very clear. And the NHL, Bill Daly, who I forget his title, deputy commissioner of the NHL, NHLPA or something like that. He said that the NHL is open to coming back to Atlanta. They think that they can get through the jumps that caused it to fail. A lot of it will do with ownership. A lot of it will do with the location of the stadium. They're kind of following the Braves path. They're getting the team out of the city. And I think, listen, also hockey has just become a much more popular sport across the United States. I think it would succeed, and it looks like it's going to happen. And also back in March, John Butchiegross, who is one of the big hockey guys over at ESPN, said that Atlanta is at the forefront of a possible expansion team. So expansion doesn't seem imminent, but when it happens in the next 3 or 4 years and the Gathering is up, Atlanta is going to have a place for a hockey team. And it looks like a very real possibility that it is coming back to Atlanta, which is super, super exciting for me.
Yeah, I don't buy the people who say, it failed because of Atlanta, the place. They're thriving in Nashville. You put up a good arena in a good place, and it's going to thrive in Atlanta, just like the Brave Stadium is. And it has more to do with, I think, going out of Atlanta is a lot easier than going into Atlanta, going away from the flow of traffic. And there's so many people who live in Metro Atlanta, not in Atlanta, outside of the perimeter of 285. And all of those people would be eager. It doesn't even matter what sport it is, just a new sport that isn't going into downtown Atlanta to go see the Falcons, go see the Hawks, going to the Brave Stadium. Listen, on a Saturday afternoon, it can be rough, but on most days, it's not that bad. You just hop on 285 and go around, and you're in Smyrna, bang. I think this is around Alpharetta, Duluth area. You just hop on 400 and go up, and bang, you're there. I think it has more to do with the place than anything. I mean, you see, plenty of hockey teams thriving in the South. It has nothing to do with the fact that Atlanta is the problem. It's just the actual location within Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having the Gathering and having a place like that, having another place like the Battery, I mean, listen, they're only going to have to fill up a stadium about 18,500. That's not going to be that hard to fill up, especially when you build a spectacle like the Gathering is supposed to be, where they're going to have shops, bars, restaurants. I mean, it's literally going to be a second Battery, except they say even bigger. So it might be even nicer than the current Battery. You get out of the city where it's going to be easier to get to, easier to commute in and out of. Also, I think a big part of it is going to be ownership. I mean, previously, the Thrashers ownership was some of the worst ownership we've ever seen. And listen, it's hard to succeed when you're hamstrung by terrible ownership. So getting in a good ownership group, getting out of the city, I think there's no doubt that this can succeed for the third time. And I think it is going to happen. And listen, I mean, I've said several times on previous shows when hockey was happening, hockey is a fantastic sport. It's fun. And if you get a good team down here, you've seen how it's thrived in Las Vegas. It's thrived in Seattle. It can thrive in Atlanta. And it looks like there's a very, very real possibility. I would almost go as far as to say expect it to happen. That wraps up our show for this evening. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday.